Alright, what's up, gang? Leah says hi. So last night I got bored and recorded a video about the inside the mind of a Libra lady and advice on how to date one. I think I might do a part 2. But right now we're just chilling. Yeah. My little one, she, I don't know if any other child has this habit or not, but my youngest one, when she poops, she likes to show me that she pooped by like having it on her hand and bringing it to me. And I think it's cute, but kind of like nasty at the same time. But she's just so precious when she does it, so it's mostly precious. Motherhood overall, it has its goods and its bads. And I always tell people there's really like only 3 things that I don't like about motherhood. One is that kids, they make messes like a lot, and I like for things to be neat. Like everybody that actually knows me in my personal life, they know that I like to stay neat. I like to stay organized because honestly, it helps me think better. So yeah, that's one thing I don't like about motherhood. Also, a lot of times they don't listen. That really aggravates me because if I'm telling a child to do something, it's because I see that like it'll result in them hurting themselves if they don't listen. Another thing I don't like about motherhood, I would say that you barely get time to yourself. Like some parents, they're fortunate enough to have like a on-call babysitter, and for others, they actually have the dad in the household, you know, and he's very helpful. So, but to other moms who are thugging it out alone, it's just like you're constantly around children all day long, so it kind of interrupts like your flow in a way. You rarely get time to yourself. And then they do stuff like that to where she just wasted water all on my couch. And then you have to be all patient with them and stuff because they're little children. They really don't know any better. Although they should, they don't. So, yeah, those are really the only 3 things I don't like about motherhood. The main things that I do like about motherhood, one is that it keeps me busy. It keeps me focused. Without my children, I was a complete mess. I really didn't like actually become independent and have my own things and get my life together and my priorities together until I found out I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. So they helped me to prioritize. They helped me to stay stable. They helped me to make good decisions because now I can't just think about myself and what I like, what I want to do. Now I have to consider how it will affect another person. So I guess in a way it kind of took the focus off of me because I noticed that we tend to make weird decisions when we're just focused on ourselves. But if we're just like, okay, how can I include my child in that process? It's like you're thinking on behalf of another little person. So it broadened my perspective. It took the focus off of me. So I'm not as self-centered as I once was. What else do I like about motherhood? Oh, these little people, they're very genuine. They love you sincerely. You know, and you always have them here to love you and things of that nature. So yeah, overall, it's pretty cool. I will say though, most people think that like being pregnant is just being pregnant, but like no, your body changes, your kukai changes, everything changes, your mentality and things of that nature, you know. So and it also changes the dynamic of your relationship, you know, or your marriage if you wait till marriage to have a child. Because when it's just you and your partner, that's one thing. But when you include children, it's just like all the focus goes off of your partner and satisfying them and things of that nature, and it goes on children. And it's not really until your children are older and a little bit more independent to where their focus is able to sort of kind of go back to your partner in the relationship. Like if I could go back and tell myself anything, it would be to like stay balanced, because it's very easy to lose focus of your relationship and the love that you have with your partner when you're so focused on baby and providing for baby and making sure baby is okay, so just stay in balance. My daily routine, it consists of mostly when they're here, it consists of waking up. I get straight into cleaning. I put on my music, my Afro beats music, to help get me in the spirit. I start cleaning. After I clean, I most likely take a shower, put clothes on, get dolled up, even if I'm not going anywhere, to make myself feel better about myself. Also put my kids' clothes on. I try to find something to do every day. But on my off days, lately I've been trying to actually chill on my off days, because I noticed lately I've been constantly on go, and I realized it's not really good for me mentally. Because normally during my work schedule, I work 5 days a week. Normally I wake up, we go find something fun to do, and when we get back home, I feed them, and then I get instantly into working. So, and then I wake up the next day and repeat, So I'm trying to find a way to incorporate more rest, more moment of just chilling, because I'm constantly on go. If I'm not putting them clothes on, I'm cleaning. If I'm not cleaning, I'm cooking. If I'm not cooking, I'm working. If I'm not working, I'm probably fixing something on the house. The apartment is messed up or something, or organizing clothes, getting rid of stuff. I'm constantly always doing something, So I would just advise moms to we gotta find a way to try to take breaks, because I think a lot of times we get this guilt from sitting still, oh, I'm a parent, I need to be doing something, we start to beat ourselves up if we don't feel like we're productive. And something I've learned is sometimes the most productive thing we can do is just chill, for the sake of our bodies, the sake of our mind, our energy levels, and things of that nature. So sometimes it's good to pause, mommies. But yeah, I would say motherhood is pretty cool. I've learned so much. And something else, I actually went to a lake 50 minutes away from where I stayed yesterday. And this woman I met out there, y'all, I low-key got a thing for older white women. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it just yet. But anyways, me and her, we were talking or whatever. And long story short, we came to the conclusion that a lot of times when we're children, we don't understand what our parents did or why they did it or why this, why that, until we get older and have children ourselves, And to apply that to myself, there's a lot of things about my mom that I did not understand. We used to get upset that my mom, she would get upset with us and stop talking. But now as an adult myself with children, I do that now, and I'm just oh my goodness, this is why my mom did that. Because one, you don't want to sit up and keep repeating yourself. You don't want to yell at your child. They're not gonna listen because they didn't listen before. So it's just a complete shutdown. I'm just not gonna say anything because you're not gonna listen, and we're just not gonna keep having the same conversation. So as a mother myself, something that I find beautiful about motherhood is that I have been able to understand my mom so much, emotionally, how she felt. A lot of things, some things that most moms don't say is that we are emotionally detached from our children. And that's probably like a very taboo topic, but when your mind is on bills and how you're gonna do this and what's next, and for some women is especially single moms, you know, you're still kind of like grieving over not being with their children's father, and you know, your mind and your heart is somewhere else. And children, they want your attention, they want your time, they want your affection and stuff like that. And it's just like a lot of times just emotionally numb, emotionally like just not there, because your mind is on 1,002 things that you have to take care of, and your heart is somewhere in the past from something that you haven't been able to actually sit still and actually cope with, because you've been in mommy mode and daddy mode for some of us, to where you really don't have time to just really sit and be like, damn, this is how I feel, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I need to do about it, because you're constantly on go, you know. So yeah, that's something that most moms do not talk about, just being completely numb. Like, you know, you love your child, but like sometimes that feeling of numbness, it overcomes you. And it's, to me, I feel like it's called like burnout. You know, when you're constantly on go, constantly on call, you know, even if you send your children to your room, one of them start crying, there you go again, you know. So, yeah, hold on. But, that's something that most moms don't talk about, just not being emotionally present. And I'm realizing now that it doesn't make us bad parents. But me personally, I try to like bring myself back to the present moment, because when I tell y'all, it is so easy for my mind to drift off. Like, it's so easy, and a lot of times I have to like really zap myself back into the present moment, you know. And also with sometimes being in daddy mode, it kind of overpowers my feminine, motherly, nurturing side towards my children. Because once again, you're focusing on what all needs to be done and taken care of. So sometimes I really have to like purposely remind myself, like, hey, go give your children a kiss on the forehead, or go give them a hug, or go play with them. Like, I have to like actually remind myself to do that. Like, honestly, me personally, that doesn't fully 100% come naturally. I have to actually remind myself, because it would be different if there actually was a masculine figure here, to where I could always be in the feminine, loving, nurturing, affectionate energy. But once again, if it's just a mother in the household, she's playing both mommy and daddy. So when she's in masculine mode, it's difficult for her to want to be affectionate towards the children and things of that nature. But yeah, that's what most women don't really talk about. Now there's times also that most moms don't want to talk about. You get so overwhelmed where it's just like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. You really think to yourself, like, how much more of this can I take? You know, especially with doing it alone. That's why some moms actually commit suicide, you know, or even there's even more extreme cases, which it really breaks my heart, to where like the mom actually ends up, you know, hurting the children or like killing them. And it's sometimes that's postpartum depression, other times that's just simply being overwhelmed, not breathing, not having anybody to talk to, vent to. That's why I think mothers in particular need the most support, because especially moms that are doing it alone, like, you have to vent, you have to talk. And to me, it helps to be around other moms who are also doing it alone, because they know how you feel. They are going through what you are going through, so you are not alone, you know. Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie, y'all know I'm a very honest person. Sometimes I get like low-key irritated whenever a woman with a very supportive husband tries to give me advice. You know, because it's just like, first of all, we are living two completely different lives. Okay. So that's something that actually irritates me. Or if like I see a woman with a lot of help, hear her complaining. I don't know, I kind of always like been irritated towards people like that who always have a lot of help. Like even growing up, if I saw like, even if I was a teen in middle school, if I saw another child, like they had both of their parents and their parents spoiled them, and like if they decided to have a child, the parents would keep the child all the time. Like I always envied people like that. It's like, how could you be so spoiled? Like I've always envied people like that. But honestly, I don't know. That may just be an insecurity of mine. That may have just been a reflection of me, that something I always wanted just didn't get a chance to have, you know. So it works both ways, you know. But also me personally, being that I have 2 children and I am 22, most other females my age, they do not have children, and if they do, they don't have 2, and if they do have 2, they probably have a lot of help from their grandparents or either their parents. So a lot of times I do not relate to the other 22-year-old females my age because of how much I have on my plate, you know. Complete frequency gap. I can't be as carefree as the other 22-year-old females. You know, I have to take in consideration of 2 little beings who their lives depend on me. So, it's like what all I've been through, it like really matured me way past my age. So like, my physical body is 22 years old, but like my mentality, because of what it's had to endure, my emotionality because of what it's had to endure, I would like really say my real age is probably like a good 46 or 47, somewhere around 50, because of like how much I've endured and learned and encountered, and I just grew very early. So to my other females who life kind of happened for you pretty early, it's kind of a good thing. The blessing that I see is that it matures us. It kind of puts us ahead of the game. But like sometimes I get very frustrated because I'm 22. There are certain things not so much as that I can't do, but like it just wouldn't feel right. It just wouldn't feel right, you know. Some certain things wouldn't be acceptable for me to do because I have children. You know, like things are just much more complicated for me because I have children. Like I have to plan things. I have to make sure my children have actual childcare in place before I can actually do anything. So I'm not really free. Although I'm independent, although I have my own things, although I can go where I want, how I want, things of that nature, I still have to take in consideration of my children. So I'm free, but I'm not like 100% free, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes that frustrates me because I actually don't like being limited. I don't like there being a lot of obstacles. I don't like having to postpone or not do certain things. So that's honestly, I feel like in a way, this reality that I'm living with 2 children, I feel like in a way that's kind of like my karmic lesson. I feel like in a way it's like a karmic lesson because once again, I was very like self-centered before. Like I wanted to do things my way, my speed, you know. But now I have 2 children, and it's not so much that it creates limits for me, but it's like it is developing that side of me that I guess is like impulsive, or that side of me that's very careless. It is developing that side of me. yeah, that's the blessing in that. But yeah, I really did not get myself together until I found out that I was pregnant, because beforehand I was very careless with my money, my time, my body, just a lot of things. I really didn't care much about anything before. But when you find out, well, me personally, when I found out there's this little person inside of me, stopped smoking, I stopped drinking, I stopped going out so much. I started to be more gentle with my body. I started to eat right. I started taking vitamins, started drinking more water. Like, being pregnant just really taught and showed me basically how much I've been neglecting myself, you know, especially financially. I didn't really understand money until I got pregnant. Beforehand, I was very careless with my money, you know, giving it away or spending it on clothes, weed, shoes, like very careless with my money. My priorities were not straight. But when I had a child, that's when I got to thinking, okay, well, my baby, she's gonna need transportation to her doctor's appointments back and forth. And with me being very prideful, I was not really interested in asking a lot of people for rides and stuff. So I knew that one way or another, I was gonna have to get transportation for my baby. Also, I knew my baby was gonna need like food and somewhere to stay, things of that nature. And it dawned on me, like, for my baby to have those things, I have to have money. And for me to have money, I need to be, one, making money and also saving it. And for me to save it, that means that I have to start telling some people no, you know, and also stop being so careless with my money, you know. So all of these puzzle pieces started to fall into place. All of the things started to actually click and make sense of what I needed to do to better prepare for having a child, you know. It was very instant too. Like, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, like, everything shifted for me, you know. But yeah, me being a mom, it taught me to be more responsible, more accountable, more mature, more rational, because oh my goodness, y'all, I cannot go into full details about it, but just know motherhood is literally like imagine a teddy bear that has been like ripped open in lots of places and it having stitches on it. And those stitches are like the only thing holding that teddy bear together. That's how I would describe motherhood, like, to the T. Because, y'all, when I tell you there's been particularly like one big time that I was like really, really, really about to explode. But the only thing that stopped me from exploding was the fact that I had a child. And for me to take care of my child, I have to stay out of jail, y'all. But my children are what hold me together. They hold together my wild side, because once again, I was very impulsive, very self-centered, very irrational. I acted on impulse. I was very not so much as emotional, but I acted out my emotions. And so now with me having children, they ground me. They require me to think stuff through, you know, like old me, if somebody say something reckless to me, it's nothing for me to like pop off. But like, I have children now, like I really cannot afford to go to jail. And I also can't afford somebody hurting me and stuff like that. So I stay out of drama. I stay out of petty arguments, stuff like that, because I have children. Like, I also used to be crazy with alcohol, smoking weed. I'm not gonna lie, I was experimenting with like pills and stuff like that. But like, my children are what hold me together. My children. They are the reason why I have transportation. They are the reason why we have shelter. They are the reason why I know how to budget my money now. They are the reason why I have not murdered somebody and why I have not been murdered. Like, they are the reason. My children literally like saved my life. And you know, there's a lot of people wouldn't understand, you know. But yeah. But like also something else I would say, like when it comes to like dating and stuff, it's a little bit more complicated because once again, you have children that you have to be mindful of. Y'all. I don't know why this did that. I don't know why that happened. But you have children that you have to be mindful of. So, I don't know. Most people when they're dating, they want to spend a lot of time and they want you available whenever they want you available and things of that nature. But when you have children, you can't just jump on somebody's time, you know? So, dating, you would basically have to be with a person that's patient, a person who's understanding and who knows, like, hey, she has children she has to tend to. And she can't just jump when I want her to jump, you know? So somebody that's considerate, thoughtful, and yeah, you know? Because most people, I don't know, it's just a little bit more complicated for parents to actually date, particularly moms that are single, because your focus is on your children all the time, you know? And also, you don't want to just bring just anybody around your children. So, you know, that's something else that kind of gets a little complicated. Yeah. I'll tell you what, something else that like I kind of like dislike. Not so much about motherhood, but like particularly like being single in motherhood. It's like people just assume like, oh, baby mama, baby daddy drama, and like I think that is the most like ghetto shit I've ever heard of. Like I hate the terminology baby mama, baby daddy. Like that sounds like some very uneducated, unsophisticated, low down, dirty shit, and like I hate those terminologies. Like, I never refer to my children's dad as my baby daddy. Like, that shit is ugly and tacky as hell. Like, I don't feel like any actual adult with common sense and with a good head on their shoulders needs to use that terminology. And I don't consider myself a baby mama. When I think baby mama, I think a woman who is not there for her children. She's not taking care of them, out running the streets and shit, not taking care at all. That's what I think when I hear baby mama. If I hear baby daddy, I think, okay, he's not there, not taking care of them, getting multiple people pregnant, not tending to any of his children, not responsible. Like, that's what I think. But a father, a mother, I'm very much a fucking mother every day, you know? To me, a mother, she's there. She takes care of her children. She takes care of responsibilities. She's a nurturer. She teaches her baby. She's there, you know, every day. And to me, a father, he's there. He's teaching his babies, loving his babies, showing his babies the way, how a man should be, and, you know, what to expect from a man, things of that nature. To me, that makes a father. But, yeah, that's something that kind of irritates me. That terminology, baby mama, baby daddy, that shit is very ghetto, very ghetto. Yeah, I would say motherhood it's a journey, and you learn so much every day. You learn so much, and something else I enjoy is that you're able to see yourself in your children. Like, there's like, okay, my oldest daughter, she has this thing, and she got it from me to where if I do something and I say sorry, she be like, what does she say? she's like, don't say sorry, just stop doing it. So it's just beautiful to see your personality in your children. Like sometimes my oldest daughter, I find her to be very extreme, but I know she's just here in the household with me, so I'm just like, okay, well, she's getting it from somewhere. So that's what helps me to, like, having children, it allows you to hold up that mirror to yourself, to the sides of yourself that you don't quite see, you know, because it's easy to think that you are a particular way, but when you're on the outside of you, experiencing you, like, we don't get to experience ourselves outside of ourselves. So having children, to me, is like beautiful, because I get to see who I am just on the outside of me through my children, you know. So I can't get mad at them. What they do, like my grandmother, before she passed, she was like, all right, and when your kids grow up, what did she say? Popping, shaking their hips and popping their hands or something like that. She was like, don't get mad at them. So like, it's just beautiful to see yourself in your children. You know, it's very beautiful. Hey. But yeah. Also, they kind of help to like shine light on the parts of yourself that you do have to work more on. Like, I don't know, lately I've been like very like distant and like aside from society, like for a really long time, honestly. But like my children, both of them, they say hey to everybody, and I feel like that's kind of like a message to me to be more open, to be more welcoming to people. But I don't know, I've just been through things that kind of made me lose hope and faith in humanity. But seeing these little innocent people waving at everybody that they come across, it's just like, oh wow, I may not have to associate with these beings, but at least I can acknowledge them and give off a warming and loving impression, you know, brighten up somebody else's day, you know. But yeah, motherhood it's a journey. It's beautiful, it's challenging, it can be hard, but it's very rewarding. You learn so much, and something else too that like I admire about having daughters in particular is that it gives me more reason to become a better lady myself, a better woman myself, a better feminine figure myself, because these girls, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna mimic whatever they see in me, you know. And I'm kind of excited for that, because I'm like, y'all don't fully understand who I was before. Like if y'all did, y'all would see like why I say I would be excited for them to take after me, because like I've come such a long way. I've come such a long way emotionally, just overall as a person. Like I've come such a long way, and I would very much love for them to take after who I am today, you know. Have my boundaries in place, my standards. I know how to say no. Also, when I say yes, it's very honest, helpful when I can be. I don't eat meat. I have a pescatarian diet. I stay away from fast food, stuff like that. Like, and I read every day. I learn every day. So there's a lot of things about me that I'm excited to see in my children as they are adults. But one thing I wouldn't want them to take from me, I guess, like my pessimism, or like my, what is it, cynicalism? I don't exactly know the word, but I don't want them to be so negative, or like have such a negative outview of people. Like whatever they go through in life, I don't want them to, I let her play in some of my eyeshadow. That's how her eyebrows are so thick like that. But I just wouldn't want them to pick up my negative views. Like, I don't want to push off my negative perspectives off of them because of what I went through. Like, I don't want them growing up not trusting men, hating men, like, thinking everybody can't be trusted. Like, I don't want them to take on that from me, you know. And that's something else that I was talking about to the woman that I met at the lake yesterday, you know. And she was telling me that it's good that I'm in therapy. You know, that alone, she was saying, is a blessing that I'm this young and in therapy and trying to work on myself for my children. She's like, that's the best thing you can do for your children. Put yourself through therapy and work through all the trauma that you've been through. You know, because something a lot of us parents don't realize is when we go through something traumatic, it changes us. And it changes our perspective. It changes our view on life. So if it changes us and it changes us in a negative way, with us having children, we're pushing that negative shit on our children, and it makes our children grow up and they literally start to walk a life with the fucking trauma mentality for something they've never even been through, you know? So I'm making a conscious effort while I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for like almost a year now, but to change the narrative in my brain. Yes, I've been through fucked up shit, yes, but I want to maintain a healthy and balanced perspective on myself, on life, on people. Like, I don't want to continue to walk through life thinking men are all rapists, none of them can be trusted, none of them are faithful, and just people can't be trusted. Like, this is not a healthy fucking mindset to have. This is not healthy. So I'm working on changing that narrative and having a balanced approach, a balanced perspective, to where it's just like, yes, I acknowledge that there are some people out there who may not have the best intentions, who may, you know, be up to no good, but also there are some people that are worth trusting. There are some men on this planet who know how to keep their dick in their pants. There are some men on this planet who know how to respect and value a woman. They do exist, but I have to use my discernment to come across those people, know how to detect them, how to treat them, how to know the difference, you know who to trust and things of that nature. So that's what I'm working on personally in motherhood, bettering myself, bettering my mentality and my perspective, because once again, when we go through something traumatic, 9 times out of 10 we develop a distorted perspective. And with us having children, we raise them and we put on the goggles that we got on them, so they start to view life through a distorted perspective, thinking that all men are gonna hurt them, or thinking that, you know, women can't be trusted, things of that nature. And that's not a healthy pair of glasses to put on your child. You know, you want them to be cautious, you want them to be aware of how much evil exists, yes, but you don't want them to be so guarded, you know, to where they actually skip out on a good man in life, or overlook really good groups of people who could really help them in the long run, you know. So yeah, that's something that I like about motherhood. It makes me want to do better, because I know my babies are gonna take after me, and I want them to take after me healthy things, healthy perspective, healthy mentality, healthy habits, healthy eating habits, healthy routines, healthy connections. Like, I want my children to be healthy, but for me to do my best to guarantee that, because they're gonna get grown, they're gonna make their own decisions, but for me to do my part, I have to be healthy myself. I have to have a healthy mentality myself. You know, everything I wish for my children, I have to have it for myself right now, you know. So they just push me to want to heal even more. They push me to want to become the best female figure I most possibly can be, you know. So Yeah, that's what I enjoy so much about motherhood. You know, you get that extra motivation to go harder in therapy, and you know, anytime I think about reverting back to old habits that I've overcome, I just look at my children, you know. I just look at my children, you know. But I know they're gonna turn out how they want to, but at least I can say that I did my best. I tried to become my healthiest self for them and teach them the most healthiest thing I most possibly can. But when they're adults, you know, they choose their own path, absolutely. And I will not judge them because I understand that we all have choices to make, you know. But at least I can say I did my best. I was in therapy, I was healing, and I tried to provide better for them. At least I can go on knowing that that is the truth, you know, while they live their lives and while I'm somewhere living my life, you know. But yeah, I just look forward to seeing them as adults. I look forward to hearing them talk about their first little boyfriend and or girlfriend. I'm very open with my children. I'm gonna be one of those parents where I talk to my children about everything. My children are gonna know everything. You know, I'd rather my children grow up knowing too much than to not be educated or knowledgeable and have somebody on the street trying to teach them what I am supposed to be teaching them here in this household. I'd rather them learn from me. I'd rather us have those uncomfortable conversations about sex and boys and sperm and all of that. I'd rather us have that conversation than for them to go out there and learn that on their own. And, you know, I don't want my babies to learn alone. You know, I don't want them to learn by themselves. You know, I want to at least put them up on game, you know, and then you can go out there and experiment and stuff. But I feel like me personally, just sending my children out into the world for them to learn, no, we in boot camp right here in this household. This is boot camp. I'm going to prepare you with all the knowledge that you need, all the tools that you need, and then you can go on your way knowing what boys are like, what they expect, what they want, how their minds are while they're young, and your body, how it functions, what happens during sex, how it feels, what happens if you know, like I want to prepare my children to talk to them about everything. So when they do go out there and come across these things, they're like, oh, this is what mama was talking about. I'm like, yeah, yeah, you know, so, just being able to have the opportunity to provide them with a map that I did not have, to me, that's a blessing. And it makes what I've been through so far worth it because I can talk to them about it. I can help them navigate. I can help them kind of like walk around certain potholes, you know? And, yeah. I don't know why that just made me think about Moana when she was like, we are voyagers. It was like, I'm just voyaging through this life. You know, I go through the storms, go through the tall waves, get knocked off the boat sometimes. But at the end of the day, I can come back to shore to my babies and be like, hey, when you go out there, when you come across such and such, this is what you do. This is how you handle this. Make sure you have this. Make sure you have that. You know, like I'm able to prepare my babies for what's out there because I've been out there and I know the ups and downs of being out there, you know. So it just makes what we've been through worth it, you know. Even the traumatic things, you know, there were certain things that I went through, particularly with men, that now that my babies are like girls, like I'm able to peep certain things and I can put them up on game like, hey, when you're around men, make sure you're dressing like this, make sure you're not doing this, make sure, like, you know, to where like everything I did not know as an innocent and naive child, I can put them up on game and let them know how men are thinking and what they see and stuff like that, you know. But everything we went through, it's like we had to go through that to like show our children how to not go through that, and if they do go through it, show them how to cope with it, you know. So yeah, that's what I find very beautiful about motherhood. You get to take all your experiences, all of what you learned, both good and bad, and like mold your children into these geniuses that are like compacted with, because children are like computers. They're like computers, and if you take all the knowledge in your brain and transfer it to their brain, it's like, you know, all your life lessons, if you just download all of this into your children, just talk to them, you know. They don't have to ask for, hey, mama, can you? Like, no, don't wait for them to come to you to talk to them. Like, even my nieces and the nephews, they don't be asking me stuff. I just be talking to them about stuff. Like, I read the room, I read the body language, and like, I just go from there. Like, my nieces and nephews don't be asking me questions, but out of nowhere, I'm just like, I don't care what y'all do in life, just make sure y'all respect women. I make sure, you know, if you're female, make sure they ain't gonna do it putting his hands on you, things of that nature. Like, they don't ask me anything. I just provide that information, you know. And a lot of parents think that their teenagers are not listening. They do listen. They just want you to think that they're not listening, but they are listening to you. They are, you know. Anytime you think your child is not listening, that's when they are listening the most. So just have that in mind and always remember that. But yeah, so that's motherhood. That's very beautiful. It just gives your traumatic memories a purpose. It gives it a meaning. It gives it it's kind of like giving back to the community in a way, you know, because it's like what you went through, it may have broke you, but you could use that broken piece of you to heal or prevent your child like from going through what you went through, you know. It's like each parent's situation holds a valuable piece of information that could maybe even save their child's life in the future, you know. It's like God knew what to put us through to prepare us for these children. God knew what information, what lessons we needed to learn to help our children when they are our age. Like, God knew exactly what He was doing. It may not make sense, you know, if we didn't have children. When we have children, it'll all click. Like, I'm so glad I went through certain things, because now I got information that otherwise I wouldn't know anything about. I wouldn't know how to teach my daughters about certain stuff if I didn't go through what I went through, you know? So it pays off. It makes sense now. It's more meaningful, you know, because I'm able to put those situations to use. I'm able to put those challenges that I went through, like all those stumbling blocks in my life, are stepping stones in my baby's life, you know? So it's just all about perspective. It's all about perspective. But just making sure that we're putting healthy information into our children. And something else I will say before I close this video out is, along with that healthy information, you want to also, like me personally, I plan to be very informative to my children about what all I've been through and things, but like I never wanted to be a session of putting their father in a bad light, you know, because it sounds cool to vent, you know, and to name a list of dirty laundry of what the other person did, but at the end of the day, you're distorting that child's view on their father or their mother. And me personally, I don't want my children growing up hating their father, because then they'll grow up generalizing that information, thinking that all men are like such and such. And like I don't want to shame anybody, and I also don't want my children growing up with a negative mentality, you know. I want them to know and to think and to say to themselves, mommy tried, daddy tried. They're two imperfect people who tried, you know, and that's it and that's all, you know. I have no plans to try to turn them against their dad or, you know, things of that nature, because me personally, I don't want to fill my children with hatred, because when they're adults, they're gonna come face to face with that wrath, and they're gonna find it very difficult to love and trust and to have intimacy with men, and I don't want them to have to go through that. So the narrative, how you talk to your children, maybe it is a negative situation, but how you word it is everything, you know. So yeah, just filling our children with healthy information, being mindful of the information that we put into them, and yeah, because it'll shape their perspective, and you want your child to grow up with a healthy, balanced perspective, you know. Yes, there will be some men out there who may not be up to good, but there will also be some very good, loving, affectionate, warm, and consistent men out there as well. You just have to use your discernment, you know. And nobody is perfect. Like, that's one thing I will teach my children. Like, no man you come across will ever be perfect, you know. So don't search for perfection, you know. Just search for a genuine heart, you know. But yeah, that's all that I have, y'all. Give me kisses. Mwah. I hope y'all took something very valuable from this video. And yeah, that's all I can think of. Until next time. Toodles!